Support for Connecticut East This Week comes from Arisu Anime, New England's premier anime superstore located in Mystic, Connecticut, with a second location opening May 17th in Fairfield, Connecticut. Visit us at arisuanime, arisuanime.com. Newport Mansions, preserving and presenting 11 historic properties and landscapes, exemplifying 3 centuries of achievements in American architecture, decorative arts, and landscape design spanning the colonial era to the Gilded Age. Tickets and information at newportmansions.org. And SCAD, the Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, is offering a $3,500 sign-on bonus for licensed clinicians. Go to licensedclinicians.org to learn more. That's licensedclinicians.org. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we remember and honour those who served. We talk to the veterans of the Danielson Coffee House who serve their community now each month with their mobile food pantry. Plus, we take a look at other stories making the headlines from around the region. This is Connecticut East This Week. Hello, I'm Brian Scott Smith. This weekend, we commemorate Memorial Day here in the US as we remember and honour those in the military who died in the line of duty to protect the freedoms we all enjoy today. And although Memorial Day has become a national holiday, it's also a time for reflection. So in this week's podcast, we thank all of those who went before, and we recognise our military veterans now. I visited recently the monthly mobile food pantry organised and held by the veterans of the Danielson Veterans Coffee House that happens every first Thursday in the town of Putnam. I spoke with the organiser, volunteers, recipients of food boxes and others, and I started the conversation with Coffee House President and US Navy veteran Fred Ruhlman. We're here today at the regular First Thursday mobile food pantry. Talk to us a little bit about it. How long's it been going?
Well, we started this about 7 years ago now, and then it was a 1-year veterans-only food share program, and it went so well that we started opening it up to the general public. Then the pandemic came, and this crew that you see here, during the pandemic, we worked with the USDA, and we gave out every other Saturday 1,400 40-pound boxes of food. We did it not here, we did it up at the middle school in Putnam then, but we did that through the whole pandemic. Then when that started to wind down, USDA stopped, and we went back to just this one, which is open to the general public. And we usually run about 120 cars through this food share. The food that we have here comes from the Connecticut Food Bank. It comes from Midwest Food Bank in Manchester. You see the team that's here. There's usually about 40 volunteers, and it's run by volunteers. Even myself, the board of directors for the coffee house, there's no salaries. It's all a volunteer program.
What does it mean to you to be able to do this? Because, you know, veterans look after veterans, but veterans also look after their community.
I tell people that every veteran here once raised their right hand and said to the government, "I will lay down my life if you require it." Well, they're done with that. They're veterans, they're not active service members, but they're still standing up now for their community, for the community they live in. You can see there's probably 45 volunteers here this morning, and they come every time we ask them.
What reaction do you get, obviously, from the community as well? Like you said, 120 people on average will come through here. Just give us a sense of what they make of this.
If I have a new volunteer that's never been here before, I will put them at one of the stations handing out the food. And when 120 cars go through and 75 of those cars go, "Thank you, I couldn't get by without this. God bless you, I couldn't get by with..." That volunteer is hooked for life. They come back every time we need them. The food insecurity in Windham County is terrible. There are food banks all over the place. There are community kitchens all over the place. People really need the food here. They call us the quiet corner. This is really the poor corner of the state.
We're talking to Bruce Hay. Bruce, you are part of the Danielson Veterans Coffee House. You're also instrumental in helping to organise the monthly mobile food pantry. We're here today. It is a hive of activity. How much effort goes into this?
I figure I have somewhere around 40 to 50 hours a month for this that we're putting on right now. There's one day that we go down to Midwest Food Bank and pick up food there. That's in Manchester, Connecticut, and that's what you're seeing here now is stuff that I got down there. Plus, there's a couple other places. Table Talk Pies donate to us. Frito-Lay has given us a lot of chips. I stop at Wyndham Pepsi. We have some soda here. These will all be going in the banana boxes. At 9 o'clock, you will see Connecticut Food Share truck come in. I have no idea what I am getting for food today from Connecticut Food Share. So it's something I have to do on the fly when they get here, figuring out what gets put in bags, where things go in that.
Talk to us about the logistics, because just listening to what you've said, it sounds like you drive all over the place with, I'm sure, volunteers as well. Just give us a sense of that, because it sounds like it is clearly a military operation.
I have volunteers. One will go to Worcester to get the Table Talk Pies. Another one gets the chips. I go to Pepsi and get the soda there that they have. So we do a lot of traveling around. I mean, at the end today, we'll be restoring the banana boxes up the road. We have a container up there, so we've got them for every month. We'll be loading up 200 banana boxes here today. When we first started with the banana boxes, we were doing 75. This is a couple years ago. Then we upped it to 100, then 150. Now we're at 200. Walgreens just laid off 300 workers. So I have no idea how many are going to be coming through. Last month when we did it, we do this no matter what the weather. Unless it's in a blizzard, then I can't do it here. But otherwise, last month, we had hail, we had snow, we had rain, and the wind was blowing at 40 miles an hour. So everything, even under the cover here, was soaking wet. And we still did it. And last month, the numbers were down. It was 179 last month. But I expect to be over 200 today.
Why did you want to get involved with this? I know it sounds a bit of a daft question because, talking to other people, veterans look after veterans, but they also look after their community. But why did you want to get involved in this? Because it is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but I enjoy it. What it was is we used to have a different vice president, and he was able to secure a grant. When we first started, it was for veterans only. Now it's for anybody. And then he had a stroke, and our fearless leader had foot surgery, so he turned to me and he said, Bruce, you got it. And
he's been running it perfectly ever since.
So he won't give it up, and I enjoy it. It is a lot of time. I figure the first 2 weeks of the month put a lot of hours in. So I figure the last 2 weeks of the month, I can take care of things around my house and that.
Looking at the volunteers here, there is an army, literally an army of volunteers here. Talk to us about the volunteers.
These people just love, a lot of them are veterans. Some of them are women that come down and put on help with the breakfast that we have every Tuesday. Right now we have Marines coming from Providence that are on active duty. This is their third month of coming. They came the first month and they loved it, and they said, we want to keep doing it. I usually have 40 to 50 volunteers here, and like they say, a lot of hands make a lot less work.
What's the reaction you get, obviously, from the community?
It means a lot. When we hit COVID, the town and Tom Pandolfi was able to get a 55-foot trailer every other week. So every other Saturday, we were doing it up at the Putnam Middle School, and we would have 500 cars go through. They would open up their trunk, and we would just put 2 boxes of produce in. It was with the USDA when they were doing it. And there was one time we put through 300 cars in 1 hour, but it was all the same stuff. It's different than what I can do now. I've had to rearrange things, but then I could run through 10 cars at a time, put 2 boxes in the trunk, and they were gone. Here I will have probably 6 different stations where every car has to stop today, but we will still put through 200 cars here today in an hour and a half. I'll be starting the line at 9:30, and by 11 it's done.
And like I said, what do people say to you and the volunteers about this? Because it is clearly needed.
It is, and people come around, some are even crying, saying thank you so much for what you do. And okay, right now the line's right there, but in another hour that car line is going to be out of sight. We have a lot going on here.
We're just going to explain for the listeners, we're actually on Kennedy Drive, and this park is called Putnam Farmers farmers market.
So this afternoon, the farmers will be here setting up what they've got for sale and that, but we've got it this morning. The town of Putnam has been really great with us. No, the policeman's not here yet, but he'll be here very shortly. He directs traffic in and out of here. The town of Putnam has really helped us. We work with them and they work with us. It's unbelievable the help we get.
Well, obviously we're very grateful to the fact that all of you do this. We're going to let you get back because I know you're incredibly busy. Bruce, thanks for talking to us.
It is a community effort here, so thank you very much.
Not at all. Thank you, Bruce. We also have from the U.S. Marines. What's your full name, sir?
First Sergeant Robert Weinhardt.
And where are you from today, First Sergeant?
I'm originally from New Jersey, but I'm a resident of Killingly, Connecticut.
And why are you here today?
I found out about the Danielson Veterans Coffee House just being a local resident here. I'm actually the senior enlisted leader of the Providence Marine Corps Detachment, Combat Logistics Battalion 25. So I got linked up with them and they let us know what they were doing out here, and it was a great opportunity to get active duty Marines out into local communities supporting and volunteering the effort out here today.
Obviously, of course, we thank you for your service and everyone else. What does it mean to you and obviously the active members to be able to come here and obviously do this, but also to interact with veterans as well?
It's a great opportunity for myself to see other veterans from all services out here coming together to support the community, and then to bring the younger Marines in to let them know that once they take the uniform off and their service on active time ends, that there's still service members out there giving back, serving the community and taking care of people in their hometowns.
I know you said that you're from Killingly, but you're also Marines from Providence. State lines are no barriers, obviously, to assistance at all, are they?
No barriers. It's New England, so everything's compact and tight up here. So we're only 40 minutes away, so it's an easy drive to get out here. Anytime we can come out and help out the community, we're more than willing to get out there and do that.
We'll let you get on because we know that you're here to help today, but thank you for talking to us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Onik F. Stahora, Danielson.
And you are a former
United States Marine Corps.
You're here at the mobile food pantry. What does it mean to you having this available to you?
Well, it really helps out the wife and I, and anything that we get. I have 2 or 3 other elderly people that I give when they had the boxes and that. They used to give me a couple extra. I'd drop them off to different Old Navy wives. But it helps a lot of people. I think it's great what they do here.
How long have you been coming to this?
Well, since they started, pretty much. I've been going to the coffee house since it started, which is about 9 years.
Bronick, I mean, there's a lot of people here today. I mean, this is a requirement here, isn't it?
It's open to everybody now, and there's a lot of people that really need it. There's a lot of good things going on, all the rotten stuff about everything, but this is one of the best things, and everything they do here. A lot of the guys really work and get things done.
Well, thank you again for your time, and we'll let you get back in the car and let you get your box.
Okay. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Bronick.
Brian Connett, Navy.
You're here at the mobile food pantry. How important is it to you?
Very important to me right now. I'm unable to work right now because of body situations, and it goes all the way back to my Navy service, and they're going to try to find out if that's, when it first started happening. It really fills the gaps in between. It's the difference between losing your house and eating. It's very important, and try not to abuse it, and I'm not one of those people that looks for a handout, but this really helps a lot.
This is one of the things, isn't it, with veterans, is that there is a certain amount of pride, of course, and when things aren't going right, you're not always the first to, as you say, reach for the handouts, but of course it is for you, it is important. What would you say to any other veterans as well who may have been a little bit on the fence like you?
Swallow a little bit of pride and step up and do what you need to do for you, because if you don't, someone else is going to do it and probably doesn't need it as much as you do.
Brian, ever so many thanks, and hope obviously everything gets sorted out for you as well. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Jean Wintrow.
And you're from which military?
Navy, U.S. Navy.
Of course, thank you for your service previously, ma'am. You're here as part of the Army of Volunteers. I know you're busy and we've just pulled you out of the line. Just tell us what you're doing here today.
We're just making food share baskets for over 200 people, around 200 people.
Why did you want to get involved in this? What does that mean to you?
After I retired, I found I had a lot of time after raising 3 kids, and it was the right thing to do. It's fun.
What does it mean, do you think, to the community, not just to the veteran community, but to the wider community as well?
Oh, I think it means a lot. The line gets longer every month, so it's getting out there.
You all seem to get on here. How long have you been actually doing this?
Well, I joined the coffee house first, so we serve breakfast on Tuesday mornings to vets. We're up to almost 100 vets now. Just kind of a follow through. They're like, hey, come on, we do this too on Thursdays. So,
And, veterans, as I say, they're known for looking after, veterans, but also the community. But also there is a certain amount of pride, and sometimes veterans don't always step forward for things personally themselves. So what would you say to anyone who's listening to this? If they do need some help, what's your message?
number one, come to the coffee house if you're local, because we have VA advocates there every week. Anyone that needs any kind of help at all. There's a lot of advocates out there. If you need it, you just have to ask.
Thank you ever so much. I'll let you get back to it because I know you're busy. Thank you. Greg, you are from the Department of Veterans Affairs, but Rhode Island, is that correct?
The Providence office, yes.
Why are you here today? Just explain that to us.
What we do is, I met Fred about 7-8 years ago, and I did a little briefing for the coffee house, and there's such a demand out here in this northeast corner that they asked if we could come back and support the region, the coffee house, a couple Tuesdays a month. And that's what we do, and we've been coming out here now for 7-8 years, taking claims. It's the largest concentration of veterans that you can imagine in the Northeast. It's amazing. And the things that happen at the coffee house, and my ability to reach so many people in one spot at one time, I don't get that anywhere, and I go all over New England. It is amazing what happens here in Putnam.
You're here today at the mobile food pantry along with, I believe, 55 volunteers we've been told today, which is just phenomenal. There's cars lining up everywhere. What's part of your job, apart from obviously being an advocate?
Yeah, what I do is I actually walk up and down the rows of cars until traffic starts to move, and I ask people if they have any questions, concerns, or issues for the VA. We take their claims, we take their names and numbers, we do follow-up, we establish benefits for them, and we just, make them aware of all the benefits that they're entitled to because they serve their country.
It's actually interesting that so many veterans still don't seem to know what they're entitled to, isn't it?
It's amazing. I just spoke to a gentleman that served 3 tours in Vietnam, and they kept telling him, oh, you're not entitled to anything, and it couldn't be any further from the truth. It's not that hard to do. That's what they paid me to do, and that's why we're out here.
And of course, there's been lots of changes, obviously state by state, but here in Connecticut, there's been some changes in the law. There's been some other changes like the PACT Act as well. So,
yes.
Of course, it's keeping people up to date, isn't it?
Especially with the changes with the PACT Act, that has opened up so many doors for veterans that were not eligible in the past, and now it's just a matter of getting to them and making sure that they receive the benefits that they've earned.
To anyone who's listening to this, because we know veterans are a proud bunch, but often they will step aside and let somebody else have something. That's just who they are. Exactly. What would you say to them if they are in need?
Reach out to us. You've earned the benefits, and the system is built to the more we use, the more we get. So the more benefits that I can get out to veterans, the more benefits we can get for those that do need them. So if you're holding back because you think you're hurting somebody by holding back. Reach out to us. Let us get you into the system. Let us help you out, and in turn, that will help everybody else.
And of course, we're up here in the quiet corner. So, of course, Rhode Island is literally just a couple of miles over the border. State lines are no barriers, of course, to something like this.
Correct. We got the go-ahead from Hartford. My director, E.J. McQuaid, his big thing is, Greg, go to where the veterans are at. And he has no issues turning me loose out here. I moved to Putnam 4 years ago during the pandemic. I love it up here, and I'm supporting my community. But again, the amount of veterans that I can meet out here on a daily basis is just amazing.
What sort of reaction do you get from the veterans as well? Give us a sense of some of the comments you get from them.
I think a lot of them are taken back that the VA is now being so proactive in reaching out to people, and not my dad's VA, it's now my VA, and I think they like it. Sometimes there's still a little mistrust. We are the government, but we are here to help, and we're doing a lot of good work out here, and it's very rewarding for us.
So just explain to us about the area that we're in, Fred, because it's a big area.
Yeah, this is Windham County where we are right now. The congressional districts of the state of Connecticut, this is district number 2, and it encompasses Windham County and New London County, which is just south of us. And the important thing that people need to realize about this congressional district is we have more veterans in this district than any other district in the state. Day to day, there are 60,000 veterans in this congressional district here in Connecticut. So we're busy all the time. As the Greg Stringfellow mentioned, he comes to our coffee house the first Tuesday of the month. He's from Providence, and a lot of the veterans up in this corner of the state go to Providence VA. It's more convenient. On the last Tuesday of the month, I have a young fellow that comes from Connecticut VA to handle all the claims. But there's more veterans here than in any other part of the state of Connecticut.
I was going to say, say, that is interesting because it does seem that in Connecticut, the majority of things like health facilities are way away from here. We're talking, where is it? It's West Haven?
West Haven. There's the main facility with the hospital is in West Haven. There's a big setup in Newington. Then there's like in Willimantic in Windham County, there's a small 15,000 square foot clinic. There's a clinic in New London. But yes, if you really need VA services and you're in Connecticut VA, you either have to go to Newington or West Haven. So most of the veterans up here in this corner go to Providence.
Just because it's nearer.
It's more convenient. That's the simple bottom line, I'm one of the younger Vietnam veterans at the coffee house, and I'm 75. You talk to Bronick, the Marine out there, he's in his mid-80s somewheres. If he's got to drive somewheres for health care, he's not going to drive to West Haven when he can go to Providence. It's that simple. It's an easier shot to get to Providence VA than West Haven.
We're coming up on 11 o'clock. It's almost over again for another month. About 146 vehicles came through. How are you feeling about it all?
The number's down a little bit, but we made up 200 banana boxes, and I'm looking at maybe 10 left. So volunteers take them for neighbors and that. I think we're right around 200 families that we've serviced today. It's good. You saw how much food we had here today. Roughly, we've gone through, I'd say, close to 4 or 5 tons of food today that we've distributed. Like you said earlier, it's over $100 worth of food per car that went through today. It really feels good to help our neighbors. We thank you for coming today. It's nice to get the word out. I never know. Some months I have 200. This month it's down a little bit, but it's still good. And like right now, I've just called. I've got some chips left over. I'm going to be meeting up with a person this afternoon. They'll be taking them. They have kids that they help on the weekends, so they have food. So I've got chips for them. It's really great.
Thanks ever so much for the interview, Bruce.
Thank you.
My thanks again to everyone at the Food Pantry for talking to us and sharing their stories. And if you are a veteran in the Windham County area or a member of the local community and want to get involved with the coffee house or donate to their causes, then visit their website at dvcoffeehouse.com. Connecticut East This Week is made possible by Arisu Anime, a Japanese pop culture haven nestled in Mystic and Fairfield, Connecticut, specializing in anime and manga merchandise, featuring an integrated Japanese convenience section designed to mirror Tokyo's vibrant streets. Arisu offers an immersive shopping experience, complete with towering statues and authentic capsule machines. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a curious newcomer, Arisu invites you to explore a world where fantasy and reality merge at Arisu Anime. That's ARISUANIME.com. Newport Mansions, as seen on HBO's The Gilded Age. Newport Mansions preserves and protects 11 historic properties and landscapes in Newport, Rhode Island, exemplifying 3 centuries of achievements in American architecture, decorative arts, and landscape design. Plan your visit this year and attend some of the mansion's signature events, including the Newport Flower Show, June 21st to 23rd, Newport Mansions Wine and Food Festival, September 20 to 22nd, and holidays at the Newport Mansions, November 23rd to January 1st. Tickets and information at newportmansions.org. And
SCAD, the Southeastern Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, is looking for licensed clinicians and is offering the top benefits packages in the state. Go to licensedclinicians.org to learn more. That's licensedclinicians.org.
Time now for a look at other stories making the headlines this week. He hit all the media outlets and headlines recently, both locally and nationally, as Costa Diamantis, a former Connecticut lawmaker and deputy budget director, was arrested by federal officials and charged with 22 separate counts of extortion, bribery, conspiracy, and lying to federal investigators. Diamantis once held the position as head of the state's Office of School Construction Grants and Review in the Lamont administration, and in the charges levied at him is alleged to have strong-armed contractors into paying him a cut of school construction contracts he helped them to win. Danielson was also involved in the State Pier project in New London with the Connecticut Port Authority, something that is still being investigated by federal agents. Danielson appeared in Hartford Federal Court, where he pleaded not guilty and was released on a $500,000 bail. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal announced millions in funding to help modernize the VA hospital and facilities in West Haven that provides health care for the state's military veterans. Blumenthal is a member of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and has been vocal about the state of the VA hospital in West Haven even before 2 people were killed in a steam explosion at the hospital back in November 2020. Blumenthal announced $153 million in federal funding for major improvements at the hospital and urged Congress to pass a bill to authorize up to $500 million for the project.
A new surgical and clinical care tower, as well as renovations of several buildings, in fact, buildings 1 and 2. And of course, the new parking facility will add greatly to the quality of visits here. When I've come to the West Haven facility, well, I've heard again and again and again, we need better facilities, not just new parking.
Blumenthal said many of the buildings on the West Haven campus were old and built back in the 1950s.
We have needed in West Haven for a long time is new construction and renovation that will match the quality of care provided by these very effective professionals with building and facilities that are equal to their world-class care. The fact is, we have the best professionals and some of the oldest facilities, and that is a recipe for potentially less excellent care than our veterans deserve.
Blumenthal said much more money was needed not just for Connecticut VA facilities but across the nation as well. The Connecticut Port Authority held a special meeting of its board members recently to discuss a $6 million federal grant it's seeking from the Environmental Protection Agency. The money will be used to purchase and operate shoreside electricity for ships docked at New London State Pier called cold ironing as part of the EPA's Clean Ports program. John Pauling is the construction lead for Orsted, who are assisting the Port Authority with their grant application. He explained some of the advantages of shoreside power.
Really 2 levels of power requirements. One is for what we call hoteling, which is the basic services of the vessel. Maybe it's air conditioning and personnel power requirement, but there's also the ability with the higher degree of power supply that you actually service some of the vessel needs. So, there is some definite improvements in emissions and, of course, workforce development and training, in participation of emissions reductions in the New London area.
Port Authority hopes that cold ironing will make State Pier marketable to more than just the wind industry when there is capacity between offshore wind projects. David Perillo is one of the Port Authority board members and a maritime industry expert and said the idea is futuristic.
Most of the vessels coming in, other than the container ships, the ships are older. They're 5 or 10 years old, and that's fairly new for a ship, but there's no electric power facilities on the ship where they can hook up. So this may be good in the future, but right now you're going to have to consider it exclusively for the wind power.
Cold ironing is popular in large ports like Miami and Los Angeles, where high volumes of cruise ships use the service to reduce their emissions and reduce their fuel usage while in port. The cost to provide the service can also place a burden on local electrical grids and increase CO2 emissions if that power is generated by fossil fuel rather than renewable energy like wind or solar. And U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas congratulated 225 cadets of the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in New London at their graduation ceremony and becoming officers. The class of 2024 is unique as they joined the service at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, a point that was reflected in Secretary Mayorkas' keynote speech to them.
And here you now are. Perhaps you are the most tested and resilient of the 142 classes that came before you. Around this time, college graduates are participating in commencement ceremonies across the country. They all, like you, do not know what tomorrow is going to bring. But this we do know. For the vast majority of them, their tomorrow will be nothing like yours.
Mayorkas stayed away from commenting on current events in the world involving US forces, but hinted at the work they will do around the globe in support of the nation and its allies. That's all from us for this edition. Do send us your questions and story ideas to the show via our website at connecticut-east.com or Facebook or Twitter at Connecticut East and on Instagram at Connecticut East This Week. And you can listen to the show again on our social platforms, on demand, and by asking your smart speaker to play Connecticut East This Week podcast. And please like, follow, and share on your social media too. I'm Brian Scott Smith. Thank you for listening.